I'm honestly tired of being the broke friend in every friend group that I'm in, and like not being able to pay for anything, not being able to go out with my friends, to go on trips, to do anything, because the way that I have been spending my money is so honestly just like stupid and doesn't make any sense. And then when the time comes for me to do something that I want to do, I can't do it because I don't have any money. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nada. Know by July why I feel like it's necessary and what my rules are for this period of time, and I'm also going to be discussing a little bit about my relationship with money and how I am kind of looking to heal my money mindset over the course of this month. If you like videos about random topics that a cute girl wants to talk about, you should go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And give this video a thumbs up if you are also somebody who has had a troubling or anxious or fearful or disgusting relationship with money as well. And comment down below if Know by July is something that you are thinking about tackling as well. Yeah, so let's just get right into it. So basically, Know by July. If you're unfamiliar with the term, a no buy is basically a period of time in which you either restrict or completely prohibit yourself from purchasing things that fall outside of the category of necessities. So like I can still buy food and whatnot, but extra things is what I'm going to not allow myself to buy, and we'll go into the categories very soon. I was inspired to do this initially by Hannah Louise Poston. I love her channel. I've loved her channel for the past 4 years. I think she's a really interesting creator, and I kind of love how she just like sits down and gets into it and like has these really creative and interesting and fascinating ideas. I feel like she's doing beauty content in a way that really nobody else on YouTube is doing beauty content. But she started her channel in 2018 with a no buy, basically just like doing a year of not purchasing extraneous items as a way to reset her mindset in terms of spending. I recently listened to her podcast, or not her podcast, the Financial Diet podcast that she was featured on. And it started to really click for me a lot of the ways that she was describing her, this is Hannah, by the way, the ways that Hannah was describing her relationship to spending and money, and her like anxiety about money and her fear of money and like anxiety about saving and like all of these things. It really like clicked for me. I was like, this sounds like me. This sounds like my life. I guess I can start by talking a little bit about my history with money and my history with spending money. And I'm a little reticent about discussing this, I think, because this is something that I have been very shameful about for a really long time. I've always kind of like beat myself up for not being quote unquote good with money, or not being good at saving, spending way too much money. And I've downloaded like every financial app in existence. We can like populate downloaded, trying to like get my spending in check and like get my budget in check and all of this. And I just can't seem to do it. I remember one time I was out with a friend and we were getting supplies for her birthday at Target, and she was like, I was like, oh, you should get this thing. And she was like, well, it's kind of expensive and I don't really want to spend any more money right now. And it just didn't even compute to me. The idea that if she could have something nice, she wouldn't get it because she doesn't want to spend the money and she would rather save the money. It didn't even like click to me, and I completely did not understand. And I think that that stems from like growing up in a kind of precarious financial situation. I don't even really know what class you would place my family in when I was a kid. I know we had more money than we do now because my dad was alive and he was working for the federal government. But the way that my parents made it seem was that we were like on the verge of getting evicted from our apartment every month, or we just like, there was not enough money for groceries. There was not enough money for like simple essential things. I don't think I quite understood, and I still don't quite understand like what the financial position we were in when I was a kid was. And so there was a lot of scarcity mindset going on in my house. And this is really hard for me to talk about because I think I've always, like, money is one of those taboos. I'm not afraid to talk about sex, religion, politics, any of that. I feel like all of that is like, why is that taboo? These are things that we do and deal with every day. But money is the one that has really like kind of seeped into my brain and made me feel, I don't know, just scared and shameful and like awkward to talk about it and think about it. And yes, but anyway, let's get back on track. So I grew up with a very strong scarcity mindset about money, just constantly my parents being like, we don't have enough. No, you can't have that. No, we can't go there. We never went on vacation when I was a kid. Like, that wasn't even a concept that I was familiar with until I got much older. I didn't fly in a plane until I was like 16 years old. Like, it just, we did not have money for the incidentals, and I don't know why, because I don't have like the insight into what my parents' financials were like when I was younger, but that was just my life. And I grew up in magnet programs, like doing and going and like participating in magnet programs in elementary, middle, and high school. And so I was kind of taken out of my environment where everybody was of a similar, or at least a seemingly similar financial situation to me, and placed in an environment where my immediate peers, like the kids who were in the program with me, were all seemingly very wealthy, like very middle class, upper middle class, white DC suburbs type of people. And so since I was like 9 or 10 years old, I've been surrounded by people who have given me a kind of inferiority complex in terms of money and my finances. Like kids who went, like I said earlier, went on vacations with their families every summer and traveled to Europe and did summer camp and like bought clothes recreationally. I remember I was in class one morning in the 10th grade and this girl was talking about how she had used her dad's card to buy some like cute dresses from American Eagle. She was really excited about them coming, and I was like, wow, I wish that I could do that. Like, I wish that I could just ask my dad if I could buy some cute dresses from American Eagle and he would just say yes with no problem. And it wasn't even that like I couldn't buy anything ever, because I did. Obviously, I was like clothed and housed and we had food. We weren't like absolutely destitute, but like if I wanted to get something from American Eagle, I could get like a dress or a shirt. There was no like, I'm gonna buy a few dresses and a couple of skirts and like a few shirts and see what works out, and then like just like return or donate whatever I don't like. Like there wasn't space for that kind of spending when I was younger. And I think that, coupled with the fact that I was constantly surrounded by people who like that was their everyday experience, so much so that they took it for granted. Like I think for a lot of my peers, it didn't even occur to them that somebody in the same class with them wouldn't be able to get whatever they wanted whenever they wanted, just by buying it. I think it just created this sense to me that like money was always something that I would never have. I don't know, it just like turned it into this weird abstraction in my mind that was meant to be striven towards and acquired and used to acquire more things. I mean, and it is an abstraction, but like, we need money to exist and like to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and house ourselves and like all of the things. I can't even really explain the mental relationship that I've had with money because I think I'm still working through it right now. As I got older and I started to get my own jobs and earn my own, there's a very thin line between me being able to take care of myself and me being able to not take care of myself. And I'm constantly like on the edge of tipping over that line because in my mind, money exists to be spent. It exists to buy pretty clothes and cute shoes and books and accessories and homewares that I have nowhere to put because there's no space in my room anymore. And so for me, I've never been able to understand or intellectualize money as something that is to be kept and saved and invested, you know? So that's something that has been a recurring theme that I've been coming back to over the past few years, especially since the pandemic started. I graduated college in 2020, acquired untold amounts of student loan debt, even though my family is like poor. I was not eligible for any scholarships, apparently. I don't know why. You're gonna have to ask the University of Maryland about that. I graduated college in 2020 and was unemployed for the 9 months following my graduation and just incapable of supporting myself anymore. Like I didn't have a job for 9 months. I had no income besides stimulus checks. Like that was the only thing that that was coming in for me. And so I could not do anything that I wanted to do. And I think when I became employed in September of 2021, so I graduated in December of 2020, I got my job in September of 2021. I finally had money and the ability to go places and buy things and eat food that I didn't cook at home. And I kind of went a little insane with it and took it way too far because I spent this like 3/4 of a year just wanting and wanting and wanting and wanting. And then suddenly I could have the things that I had been wanting and wanting and wanting. And so instead of me thinking about ways that I could save this money that was coming in, I was thinking about new ways that I could spend it. So I think that I have had an unhealthy relationship with spending for a while. I wouldn't say that I have a shopping addiction. It doesn't feel compulsive to me. I don't feel like I have a compulsive need to shop or purchase or buy things. I think if anything, I have a spending addiction. And even that feels like it's pushing it. But the thing is that I've seen myself, and this again is very embarrassing to admit, I've seen myself get paid on a Friday, and by Saturday night, I have $2 left in my checking account. And I don't even know if I'm gonna leave that in because I'm like so embarrassed thinking about that. And I'm like, how did I find all of these things to spend money on? And it's not even just that I found a bunch of things to spend money on. It's that over that 9 months of not being employed, I had to find other ways to get income. And so I ended up taking out loans and opening credit cards and basically doing everything that I learned in school that I was not supposed to do in my early 20s. I had to do because nobody was hiring me and I didn't have any other way that I could conceive of making money. Obviously that wasn't very smart, but you live and you learn. I think I struggle with this as well because there's this huge personal responsibility narrative around money, and this idea that like if you just take responsibility for yourself and are smart enough with your money, you can't fail. And I like me being I don't want to toot my own horn, but like I'm relatively intelligent, college educated. I live in an area that is very affluent, even though my family is not affluent by any stretch of the imagination. And I've been surrounded by people who have had money their entire lives, and because of that are able to manage it and don't have the same like negative relationship with it that I have seemed to develop. You would think, looking at me, and I feel like I put on a very good show of seeming like I have it together, and I am financially, not even that I'm financially savvy, because I'm sure some of my friends know, like, this bitch,
I don't know what she's doing, but it's not making sense.
But I seem like I'm able to take care of myself, right? The fact is that I have not been able to take care of myself. Yeah, so we have this idea, and I don't even know if it's just in America or just in the West or whatever, but this idea that like if you're smart enough, you can't be poor, because if you've had a certain level of access, that should carry into being able to manage your money and take care of your money and save your money and all of those things. But the thing about that is, like, when you've never had money to manage or take care of, it feels incredibly novel to have it all of a sudden. And I think too, there's habits that people who grew up middle class or upper middle class are able to develop through watching their parents that people who didn't grow up with that experience just can't access, because there's no example of it being shown. Like, I did not have I don't think my parents were able to manage their money very well either. And so it would make sense to me that I wouldn't be able to myself. And that's not to blame them for every issue that I have, but it is to say I can clearly see the cause and effect, like, the patterns that they exhibited that I have been inadvertently retreading over time. So I think there is a level of personal responsibility, and that is what I'm taking right now as I do this No Buy July, of just like trying to force myself to restructure my money mindset. But then I think it also has to be acknowledged that there's a certain level of privilege in even being able to conceive of money as something that can be managed. Because if you don't have it, you have no experience of having it, you've never had a lot of it, then what is there to manage? I can't herd sheep that don't exist. There's an aspect of it that I feel like it was out of my control, and then an aspect of it, which is where this no buy comes in, that I am trying to take control of. And so that is my history with money. I don't even know if that was like coherent or made sense, but that's where I'm coming into this project from. And now I want to talk a little bit about what the project is going to end up being. So I have my rules written down over here. Basically, I'm giving myself an incredibly strict budget. Not even a budget, really, because I have the fortune of living at home. And so things like I have to pay for things like gas and for the car that I drive and my phone bill. But everything other than that is pretty much covered. So as I'm in this position still, I want to take advantage of that. And like, it's crazy to me that I've had this like a year and a half with no expenses and income, and I like haven't taken advantage of it until this moment. But here we are, we're flipping the script, we're changing directions. So I found that the things that I spend the most money on are food and eating out, books, clothing, including like accessories, shoes, all of that, and home stuff. So like candles and pretty cute shelves for my bedroom, and that is the hook. I'm looking at this hook right now. Yeah, like stuff like that is what I'm constantly spending money on. And so I'm telling myself I'm cutting all of that out of my budget. So no spontaneous trips to Target to look at the clothes and then buy 17 pairs of shorts that barely fit me. No trips to Sephora, no getting on Sephora.com and ordering stuff, no Barnes and Noble, no, like none of that. I'm cutting all of that out of my spending. I can't eat out, so purchasing takeout or eating out at a dinner, but I can buy groceries. And my grocery budget for each pay period, I think was going to be like $100 to $200. I'm still not entirely sure about. I say $100 to $200 because I haven't fed myself in a long time, like since I lived on my own in Philadelphia when I was going to college. So I can't exactly remember how much groceries for one person for 2 weeks cost, but yeah, I feel like $100 to $200 is reasonable, especially if I'm trying to be conservative with what I spend. I'm not allowing myself to order coffees or pastries, which was one of the like joys of my day every day, is just to get out and go drive to the coffee shop that's near my house and buy my little coffee and get my little pastry. But I'm not doing that anymore, just because that's such a large, it accounts for such a large chunk of my budget that it's untenable. Like I can't go get a coffee every single day. And this isn't to say like once you cut out ordering coffee out, suddenly all this money will appear. Like, no, but it's a part of a larger project. I also have an issue with like sweets and not being able to regulate my consumption of sweets. And so I've made the rule that I can buy groceries, but I can't replace the pastries that I'm purchasing from the coffee shop with groceries and sweets from the store. So no, I can't go to the coffee shop and buy a chocolate chip cookie anymore, but I also cannot go to Giant and buy a bucket of chocolate chip cookies and eat them all in 3 to 4 days. I think like sweet treats here and there, like a pint of ice cream or a bear claw from the bakery at Safeway, those are fine, but like in moderation. So basically my spending money for groceries is going to be between $200 and $400 a month. And my exceptions for myself, so this might seem like incredibly strict, and it is incredibly strict, but I think it's because I need that constraint in order for me to reset my mind in terms of spending money. So my restrictions or my exceptions are that I can replace things that I already use. So it can be a new product that I want to try. So like say I run out of my lip gloss and I want to try a different lip gloss. I can purchase a new lip gloss, and it can be a different lip gloss, but if I don't like it, I have to use it until it's finished. And I can't just like throw it away and then go buy the one that I had originally been using. And like I have face wash. I have like one face wash that works for me. And so I can replace that when I run out of it. My filter on my French press she's grimy. Okay. So I'm going to be purchasing a new pack of filters for my French press, stuff like that. And that too is like a good investment because if I can't go get coffee out, I would like to be able to make my coffee at home. So that is the one exception. And the other exception is I can spend on things that are essential. So like I said earlier, like gas for my car or my phone payment when it comes up. I also have credit card payments and loan payments that I have to make. And so I will be reappropriating some of the budget for my like quote unquote fun spending to those essential things. I hope all of this made sense. I have only drank like some coffee today and I need to go eat a food. That is essentially what my no buy project is going to look like this month. what I'm hoping to get out of this is a new relationship with money and spending money, not seeing it as this like evil or good thing outside of me that I can just use to acquire things to make me happy for 20 minutes, but also not seeing it as something that is just like there to cause pain through lack of it. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like my mindset towards money has been very much like it is either this blessing that comes in that allows me to get things that give me the happies, or this evil thing that is kept away from me because I don't deserve it. And it's all very like philosophical and weird, and I don't want to have this weird relationship with it. I just want it to be a thing that exists in my life that I can spend and save and use and keep and give joyously and in any way that I so desire. And I don't think that I will be in the place to do that until I get out of a space of thinking that like I need to spend money in order to be happy. And I feel like that idea comes from like when I was a kid. If I wanted something, I couldn't just get it. Like, I would look at these things for months and months and want them and like try and like ask my parents, hey, can I get this? Hey, can I get this? And the answer would almost always be no. And so now I'm an adult, I don't have that no for myself, because I think like if I don't get it now, if I don't have it now, then I will never have the opportunity to purchase it. I still think about these holographic, what are they called? Brogues? Oxfords that I wanted so bad when I was a freshman in high school, like peak Tumblr fucking fashion, and I never got to get them. And I think about them at least once a month, and I shouldn't be thinking about the shoes that got away, but I am. And like, I've looked on Depop and I've looked on fucking Poshmark and like all the resale websites, they don't exist anywhere anymore. Like, I don't think anybody is selling them. And that like loss, that my inability to get that thing, it feels like my ability to buy whatever I want now, whenever I want, and not like tell myself no, that feels like a replacement for not being able to get what I wanted when I was a kid. So I'm hoping that by the end of this period of time, I will realize that I don't need to spend money in order to be happy. I don't. And in fact, like, saving money can make me happy, or money can have absolutely nothing to do with my happiness. It can just be something that exists in the world. I think something that I don't know that if it came across in this video is like, money has preoccupied so much of my thoughts for the past like 4-5 years, just like thinking about it, wanting it, trying to get it, getting it, spending it, wasting it, being mad at myself for wasting it. And like, I just don't want it to live in my head rent free anymore. I want to be able to think, to free up space to think about other things, to write stories that I want to write, and read all of these damn books that I have in my room, and like watch new TV shows, just to like have fun. I just want to have space to have fun and enjoy myself. And I'm honestly tired of being the broke friend in every friend group that I'm in, and like not being able to pay for anything, not being able to go out with my friends, to go on trips, to do anything, because the way that I have been spending my money is so honestly just like stupid and doesn't make any sense. And then when the time comes for me to do something that I want to do, I can't do it because I don't have any money. So that is my No by July, which will probably turn into something else that doesn't rhyme as well as No by July rhymes. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video if you've gotten to this point. And let me know if you've ever done a no buy, if you would consider doing a no buy, in the comments down below. We can do this together. We can, if you're in a similar situation to you, where you feel absolutely plagued by financial lack, or the fear of financial lack, let's chat about it in the comments. And hopefully if you're doing No by July too, we can find some solace in one another.